A market without a debrief is a market you can't learn from. And we need to take opportunities to learn from these markets when they only happen twice a year.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wholesale Huddle. I'm Stephanie Smith, busy mom of three, founder of Product Partner Co., and owner of Birch House Games and Gifts, a handmade wooden board game company doing multi-six figures on the wholesale platform Faire. Each episode I share from my own firsthand experiences, or I sit down with other wholesale sellers who are actively building and thriving on Faire. We dive deep to talk about what's working, what's not, and the lessons we're learning along the way. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to wholesale, but learning about what's working for other sellers can help us make better decisions in our own businesses. So get cozy, grab your favorite notebook, and come join our Wholesale Huddle.
Hey, Faire friends. Welcome back to the Wholesale Huddle. This is our bonus episode. This is what I promised you when Market Week kicked off. But also, it's taken me a minute to gather all of my thoughts and sit down to record. So I have been genuinely looking forward to this one because I think the post-market conversation is one of the most important conversations we can have. And I don't see many people really having that and diving into what the market brought. So the Faire summer market has come and gone. The notifications have probably mostly slowed down, although you're probably still getting some orders. I know at least with my business, I see orders just kind of continue to trickle throughout the rest of the year. It really starts picking up towards the end of Q3 for holiday purchasing and things. But the post-market dust is settling. And so today we're going to kind of debrief all of it together. So before we get into anything else, I want to say this. However your market went, you are in the right place today. So whether you're riding the high of a great week or you're still processing a result that felt disappointing, this episode is for all of you. So let's get into it. Okay, so I want to start here and I want to be really intentional. This is not a consolation prize, but as something I really genuinely believe to be true. Every single person who showed up for this series has something real to celebrate coming out of this market. And I don't just mean orders, although orders are fantastic. I want you to think about where your shop was 6 weeks ago, before episode 1, before you set your goals, audited your site, updated your cover photo, wrote better descriptions, DM'd retailers, got your operations ready. Your shop is objectively in better shape today than it was 6 weeks ago. And that's not nothing. That is legitimate forward momentum in your business. If you got orders during market of any size, I want you to celebrate. Every order is a retailer who found you, liked what they saw, and said yes to your brand. And that's a relationship and the beginning of something really meaningful and potentially financially rewarding as you continue to nurture that relationship. If you got new followers on social media or had some great new conversations, celebrate. Those are retailers who are interested and watching. They are in your pipeline. If you sent DMs and got responses, even ones that didn't convert to an order yet, celebrate. You made contact. You were on someone's radar who wasn't before. If you did not get a single order, but your shop is cleaner, your photos are better, your about section actually tells your story now, celebrate. Because the next retailer who lands on your page is going to have a very different experience than they would have 6 weeks ago. And that's meaningful. The wins are there. I promise you that they are there. You just might have to look a little wider than your order notification count to find them sometimes. At Birch House, I'm celebrating a week that had some real highlights and also some moments where I had to take my own advice about not comparing myself to the highlight reels. It was a real market week for me too, and I'm proud of the work that I did going into it, and I'm walking away with a list of things I plan to change in the upcoming weeks. And that's what a market is supposed to give you. Data points that help you pivot and improve, or data points that confirm the things that you're doing are working. And kind of usually it's a mix of both. Okay, so now I want to give you something practical because I think one of the most underused things in a seller's toolkit is the data sitting in their Faire dashboard right now. Most sellers look at their order count and stop there. And I want you to go a little deeper than that. Here's what I want you to pull up and actually look at after this episode. Or you can pause, go pull it up so we can look at it together. First, your traffic. Did your views go up during market week compared to your normal weekly average? Traffic tells you whether retailers are finding you and which of your products are landing in searches. Retailers can't buy what they can't find. Second, specifically, I want you to dig into the views by product. You can go to your product performance tab and look at how each individual listing performed during the market week. Which products got the most views? Which ones got almost none? High views on a product really is telling us this is working. Retailers are finding this in the search and this listing is working. Low views, especially on a product that you expected to perform, is a signal to look at your title and your keywords and whether the listing is actually showing up the way you think it is. This tab is one of the most useful data points you have access to. And I think most sellers probably don't even know that it exists. Third, cart ads. Okay. Faire lets you see which products existing retailers or uploaded Faire direct leads have added to their cart, but have not yet ordered. And this is a warm signal. A retailer who added something to their cart is interested and still deciding. It's basically their way of like saving it for later. If you see products sitting in carts without converting, ask yourself what might be creating the hesitation. Price, minimum order quantity, lead time, photos that are not really telling the full story or giving them all the information they need. These are all fixable things, and those listings deserve your attention before the fall, especially. So I like to really isolate the listings specifically that I know should be getting more traffic. Of course, I do a lot of state themed things. And so, of course, I'm not going to see as much traffic on my Delaware products as I do my Texas products, for example. And so I can understand a discrepancy in views and engagement with those products. But when it's a listing specifically that you feel like this should be going gangbusters on here, then you need to kind of go and dig in and just kind of figure out exactly where that disconnect is and get that resolved, especially before we hit that peak fall buying season. Okay, fourth, new retailers versus returning retailers. This ratio is one of the most revealing numbers, I think, in your whole debrief. Look at how many of your orders came from brand new retailers versus how many came from retailers who've ordered before. This was really interesting for Birch House. The majority of our orders came from first-time retailers, which is crazy because I did quite a bit of nurturing with my returning customer base. I did my postcards, I did emails, I did DMs. New retailers is exciting. And that means that the new acquisition efforts are working, but only about 2% of my existing retailer base came back to reorder this market. Isn't that crazy? So that number is telling me something really important. My post-market nurture and reorder communication is probably where the biggest opportunity lives for me moving forward in my business. I kind of already thought I was doing a pretty good job at that, but this number is telling me I could be doing better. So, and I have some ideas in mind and some goals in mind for how I'm going to do that. But 2%, only 2% came from returning retailers. I got a bunch of new eyeballs on my site and not a lot of people returning. So, things to take away from that. If your numbers look similar, lots of new retailers, not many returning ones, it's not a failure, it's data. And it tells you exactly where to put your energy. The thank you DMs, a welcome sequence, consistent retailer emails throughout the year. And that's what's going to convert a one-time market buyer into a retailer who comes back every season. And if that feels like a lot to manage on your own, shameless plug, that's exactly what my Send and Sell Club is designed to do. I handle your email outreach for you. I take it off your plate. I have many wholesalers whose emails I manage at this point, and they saw tremendous success this market in re-engaging with leads as well as existing retailers, and it paid off for them tenfold during the market. So I will put the link in the show notes for the Send and Sell Club if that's something that you want to check out. Okay, fifth, your tier/discount performance. If you ran a market deal, look at what percentage of your revenue came from which tier. Okay, if you did tiered discounts, or if they spent enough to qualify for your discount, if your discount required a higher MOQ than what your normal MOQ is. Okay, this number is going to tell you how much of your market success was truly driven by the deal itself. For Birch House, just to share my numbers, 82% of our market revenue this summer came from discounted orders. Only 18% didn't spend enough to qualify for the bottom tier because I do set my bottom tier higher than my standard MOQ. I want to make them stretch a little bit to get that discount. So only 18% didn't meet that that lower minimum, which meant that my average order value went up, right? And that tells me two things. The market deal is doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to getting retailers to actually place an order. And building my retailer relationships out of market season, where full price orders happen, is where my long term revenue health lives. If you ran a deal this market and most of your volume came from it, that's not a problem. It's useful information for how you plan your next market and how you think about your year round strategy. Sixth, your outreach data. Go back through the DMs and emails you sent before and during market. Who responded? Who read them? Who didn't? What language seems to get traction? What felt flat? Your outreach is truly a living thing that gets better every time you run it if you pay attention to what worked. It's ever evolving, which is how it should be. Seventh, if you emailed retailers both on and off the Faire platform, I want you to compare your open rates between the emails you sent through Faire and the emails you sent through your off Faire platform. If you used both this market, pull those numbers side by side. I will tell you what I found for Birch House, which was very interesting. My open rate on emails sent through Faire was more than 10% higher than the open rate on emails sent off Faire. That's pretty significant. And that's even with the rate limiting that Faire does during the market. So here's why I think that that's worth paying attention to. A lot of sellers abandon the Faire email platform because they feel like it's limited. They can't be as showy. They can't personalize them as much because it's clunky and limited compared to what they're used to with their off Faire email platforms. But retailers on Faire are opening those emails at a really meaningful rate still. There's opportunity there that you might want to consider in terms of where you're sending emails from throughout the year. My recommendation is not to just choose one or the other. It's to use both intentionally and kind of in conjunction with each other. Your off Faire platform builds your own relationship outside of Faire's ecosystem. But the Faire email platform is reaching retailers in a context where they're already primed to buy. They're already on Faire, right? So don't sleep on that. So for context, with Birch House, I will send 2 emails a month from the Faire campaigns every other week. And maybe once a month, sometimes only once every other month, I'll send one from my off Faire provider. And that email is usually a little more of a broad newsletter format, just a way to kind of keep in touch with retailers and keep that email list growing and in good standing. And our last one, number 8, compare this market to the same market last year. Not just your most recent market, because summer market and winter markets perform very differently because of the types of retailers who are buying, what they're searching for, also what kind of product you're carrying can make a big impact, obviously, on whether you're going to perform better in summer versus winter. The more meaningful benchmark is going to be summer to summer or winter to winter. For Birch House, summer 2026 came in just a little below summer 2025 year over year. Still a successful market overall, and this didn't really surprise me. Faire has been a little bit down year over year for Birch House for 2026, so I was expecting the market to be just a little bit slower. But if I compare winter 2026 to summer 2026, summer was up 32%. So knowing that kind of trajectory and the difference between the markets matters. A single number in isolation doesn't really tell you as much as the trend over multiple markets. Okay, so I want you to take notes on all of these things. This data is really the blueprint for what you repeat or do differently next time. A market without a debrief is a market you can't learn from. And we need to take opportunities to learn from these markets when they only happen twice a year. I said this during market week, and I want to say it again now because I think it's one of the most important things a Faire seller can internalize. The market's over, your orders are not. Retailers who browsed your shop during market and didn't order are still in your pipeline. Retailers who got one of your DMs and didn't respond yet may open it this week. Retailers who added things to their cart and haven't checked out are still thinking and considering. The buying window does not slam shut the moment the market badge is gone. Okay, so here is what I want you to do in the next week or two. Go back through your warm retailer list from before the market. Anyone who didn't respond to your outreach is worth one more shot, a friendly follow up. Something like, hey, I know market just wrapped up. Things are probably busy on your end. Just wanted to circle back and let you know that we'd love to have your store carrying our products. Our market deal ended, but I'm happy to chat with you when the time feels right. Something like that. Okay. Make it sound like you, please. And for retailers who placed an order during market, if you haven't sent a personal thank you DM yet, do it now. It's not too late. It's not awkward yet. Okay. Slide into those DMs and thank them for their order. The work's not over. It's just shifting kind of into a different gear, into a different direction. Okay, so here's what I want you to understand about the calendar you are standing in right now. Q3 and Q4 are generally the biggest wholesale buying seasons of the year. Fall restocks. I say generally because there are some outliers, okay? But we're talking fall restocks, holiday inventory, gift shops galore, boutiques buying up all things Christmas and holiday, planning out their floor sets. The retailers who are going to make your fourth quarter are starting to make decisions right now, or they will be very soon. The sellers who do well in fall are almost never the ones who scramble in September. They're the ones who took what they learned from summer market and acted on it while it's still fresh. Okay. It's not going to be fresh in like a week because we've all moved on and we're all doing back to school and all the chaos is already kicking in. So we need to be able to act on it while it's still fresh. So here's the question I want you to sit with. What is the one thing your market taught you that you're not going to ignore going into the fall? Okay. Maybe it's that your product photos are holding you back. Maybe it's that your about section still doesn't present your brand in the way that it should. Maybe it's that your outreach language needs work, or your outreach schedule and efforts need work, or that you need to build a bigger, warm retailer list. Maybe it's that you need more fall and holiday specific products to compete in Q4. Whatever that one thing is, write it down and then make a plan to address it by September at the latest. If you need another set of eyes on your shop before the fall, that's exactly what my Faire website audit is there for. It's a fresh look at what's working and what's getting in your way. I'm giving you specific actionable steps to fix it, all in recorded video form. So you can have that video, you can walk through, you can replay, save, do whatever you need to go through and optimize your shop. The sellers who go into fall with an optimized shop are in a completely different position than the ones who don't. Now, hopefully you have a pretty well optimized shop with all the work that we've done together leading up to the market. But that support is there if you feel like you need that extra set of fresh eyes on your site. I will drop the link in the show notes for you. Aside from your shop, start thinking about your Q4 wholesale strategy now. What's your holiday product lineup? Which retailers do you want to reactivate before the season? The answers to those questions should be on your radar today, not in 2 months. So get thinking about that. Okay, I want to slow down for just a second before we close out because I have something that I want to say from my heart. When I sat down to plan the market prep series, I honestly didn't know if anybody would care or have the time or show up for any of it. And 5 episodes plus a bonus episode covering everything from setting your goals to running your post-market debrief. That is a lot to ask of, well, a lot to ask of me to do alongside prepping my own business, but it's a lot to ask of you guys to show up and to come and be ready and to work through the guide together. And you did though, like you showed up week after week, you listened, you did the work, you showed up in the comments and in the community, which means so much to me to not just be taking the time to do this and have it just be out into the universe and there never being any kind of like reward of seeing it help people, you know? And so I just want to thank you for showing up, for being engaged, for being positive, for keeping this community so supportive. And I'm just really proud of the community. And I don't take lightly the fact that you trusted me with your time and your business over these last several weeks, because I know you have lots of options of people to listen to. And that's great because there's a lot of really great guidance and direction out there. And so the fact that you trusted some of your time to be spent with me really does mean so much to me. So I started the Wholesale Huddle because I believed truly that the best way to learn wholesale is from people who are actually doing it, not just from coaches and courses, but from fellow sellers in the trenches, figuring it out in real time, building real businesses on Faire with the current climate. And so that is the conversation I've always wanted to be a part of. So in the coming months, I am bringing more voices into the podcast. More businesses, more sellers. That is really what I want kind of the meat and potatoes of the Wholesale Huddle to be, is sitting down with fellow Faire sellers who are doing really great things with their businesses. Sellers who've cracked the code on something, whether it's their outreach strategy, their product development, their pricing, their market approach, or the way they've built retailer relationships that keep coming back season after season. Real sellers, real strategies with real results. That's where the Wholesale Huddle is going. I think and hope you're going to love it. I know I do, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. If you've not subscribed yet, now's the time. And if you know a seller who would benefit from these conversations, please share this podcast or video wherever you're watching this with them. Word of mouth is still the most powerful marketing there is, and growing this community means more voices, more perspectives, more of what's actually working, finding its way to you. So if you can subscribe, share, leave a comment, leave a review, whatever you can do, that would be so helpful for me. So that is a wrap on the Summer Market Prep series and on one of the most meaningful projects I've worked on for this community. And I'm just really excited and grateful that we made it through life. Summer market is in the books. Q4 is on the horizon, and you're not going into it alone. I'm not going anywhere, I promise. You've got your Faire Biz bestie right here in your corner. I'm so proud of every single one of us for all that we did for this summer market, and I'm cheering you on always.
One more thing before I go. If you're looking for more ways to grow together, that's exactly what I'm here for. Head to productpartnercode.com to see how we can team up, from quick wins to full Faire makeovers, and come hang out with me on Instagram at productpartnerco. I'm sharing real talk and real strategy there every week. Cheering you on always.